Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Ballin with Bash and Ted. I, of course, am Ted H6 from Twitter and Ted Talks Ball. Bash is my co-host, Bashar from 49er Minded, both on Twitter and YouTube. Bash, happy Thursday afternoon. We usually do our shows on Fridays at 3, but I don't have childcare tomorrow, so I probably won't be doing any shows tomorrow unless people want to see my son on there intermittently.
Maybe some people would want to see your son.
He's pretty cute. Yeah, I mean, they might like him better than me. Who knows?
Exactly. Nowadays, the way things are going with you now with Twitter and that whole world, you seem to be public enemy number one. Yeah, you're one of the nicest guys that I know. It's kind of weird.
Well, I was saying to somebody recently that, I tend to mirror people's energy. So, like, if you're cool with me, I'll be super cool back with you. If you come at me, then, expect to get what you get. Kind of like I was saying, Jordan Poole, talking words with Draymond and shoving him. Maybe he should have expected that punch coming back. Ultimately, like I said, if people are cool with me, I'm cool with them. If they want to brawl, I'm down to brawl, as the day is long. I love to argue, and it's a lot of fun. But
does that make you Draymond?
I wish. He's my favorite player, and he's pretty tough. But probably not. I'll probably have to go with somebody not quite as tough as Draymond. But we have a ton of folks in the house. We had some folks show up early. Jimmy Perez said, "What's up, Ted and Bash? What's good?" Bryant Culp. Everybody make sure you check out his channel. Just over 100 subs. And doing great things. So is his wife, Tony, with an I, T-O-N-I, Culp. Great women's panels on her shows. He's saying, "Let's go Niners." What's up, Bashar? More go Niners. He's saying, "What's up, Ted?" with the pineapples. He's been using the pineapples instead of the fire emojis in honor of Kittle's revealing video. They're saying hi to each other. David McNew saying, "Let's effing go Niners." They're saying hi to each other. We got Laura Cat in the house saying, "Oh, intriguing title, Ted." And I think I said something about, clickbait content creators beware. Because earlier in my earlier show today with Ty Alston, we talked a little bit about, Adam Schefter and his reporting, quote unquote reporting of, Sam Darnold having the edge over Trey Lance in camp. I
was just doing a joke.
Oh, okay. Like you're out. Because I know you don't want to talk much about quarterbacks if we can avoid it.
If possible, there's plenty to talk about though in general. And you know what? Can we touch on the? Let me just say what's up to some people that are on my chat really quick because we have two shows going on two different channels. If you're not subscribed to Ted, give him a like and a subscribe. If you're not, and vice versa, like and subscribe both channels. We're running on both channels. Donald Johnson's in the house. He's on my chat. Loyal, faithful viewer. We got Philly Fungi. I guess he's a Rams fan. I thought it was a Philly fan. I don't know. It's kind of a funny name.
No, he's silly fungi. That's why, like psilocybin mushroom fungi, like a mushroom.
JG630. Yeah, it's a good friend of mine. Says he's a backup. Talking about it's a reference to Jimmy G. Jess is in the house. East Go Reddit podcast, and Broski, Laura, all those. We see you. So thank you for supporting. And do you want to talk Warriors a little bit because a big trade just dropped.
A huge trade just dropped. Feed me the details just in case I got it wrong.
It's crazy because when it first happened, well, basically it's CP3. The Warriors got CP3, Chris Paul, and Jordan Poole's off to the Wizards. He's off to see the wonderful Wizard of Oz. And we got rid of Ryan Rollins, and I'm gonna read the details in a second, but. Yeah, I wish, I don't know. I'm kind of a little iffy about this. The only thing I'm okay with is that, Paul's a veteran player. He can defend a whole lot better than Jordan Poole. He can obviously manage the offense and run the offense well off the bench. And it'll obviously be the best backup point guard. He's a backup that Curry has ever had. So, but my Warriors fandom in me has hated Chris Paul for so many years. So it's kind of weird that I have to cheer for him now. It's kind of funny, but it looks like Draymond had a say in pulling the strings on this deal. You mentioned Draymond earlier, and we all know about Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. And trying to pull up the details, it's kind of something about conditional picks and
Yeah, I've hated Chris Paul ever since he was a Clipper. I always blank on the big forward's name that he played with down there when it was like one of the last times we lost in the Western Conference playoffs prior to losing to the Lakers this year. It was the Clippers. The big guy's got kind of reddish hair, freckles, big power forward.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Why am I forgetting his name?
Detroit Pistons.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, he was drafted the same year that Curry was drafted. Yep.
Hopefully the chat
totally forgot that guy's name. Yeah, he was on the Clippers. I remember him, and he was. I actually wanted the Warriors to draft him because I just was so enamored by the way he was dunking, and he's a big, strong, athletic body. But we got Curry at the time, and you're talking about Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin was the overall pick of the draft.
Blake Griffin, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. What up, Angie Niner? I see Angie Niner in chat. Yeah, it's like we're giving up. We gave up a first round pick. So let's talk about the Warriors here, really quick, just to cover this breaking news of the trade. So we're sending over their art. So it's a first round pick to the Wizards, which is kind of iffy, like what? But it's a 2030 first round pick, so way ahead of from now. So and a 2027 second round pick, and Jordan Poole's a Wizard now. Fans had mixed feelings about him. He was nice in that playoff run when we won the title. He fell out of favor when he got into it with Draymond and just his lack of defense, certain unprofessional things that he was doing with the team, and he was just a bit lackluster in this year's playoffs. And so it's okay in my opinion, I'm not really that mad or pissed about it. I'm just like whatever about the trade, but hopefully it pans out for us.
Yep, hopefully so. I mean, yeah, I don't like Chris Paul. I don't like his personality. I don't like that he's a little bit dirty. And I really don't like that he seems to be injured during every playoffs run. But, if Draymond wants him, Draymond's a smart guy. Maybe he knows what he's doing. Maybe we're not finished. That's what I keep hoping, that it's like the first part of something, maybe to free up salary cap or something. I don't know. I don't know enough about the specifics. But he's not one of my favorite people in general, person or player.
Oh, Chris Paul, yeah. Especially when he was on the Rockets, when he was with Harden on the Rockets, I couldn't stand him back then. Yeah, but I mean, Chris Paul, when he first came out in the Hornets, I was like, wow, this guy's a talent. Like, whoa, watch out, league. But I mean, he's definitely accomplished a lot. But he's 38 at the same time. Sounds like the Warriors are going to try to free up his salary. Probably, I'm not sure. I was watching Cyrus on Lockdown Warriors. Shout out to Cyrus. What's up, Cyrus? If you're watching, but yeah, he was explaining that maybe the Warriors could probably dump his salary, dump CP3's salary basically in the future. And who knows? I forgot what the details were, though. And how come I don't hear you? Are you muted?
Yeah, probably because I coughed and put myself on mute. That would explain it. Yeah, I have a little cold. Hope it's just a cold. We'll see. Probably test later this afternoon. Steve was pretty much said, I heard a scout said Allen will be number 2, as in QB number 2 on the team. Not Josh Allen, Brandon Allen, the former backup for Joe Burrow. I think he might have seen that on Larry Krueger's show last night. Larry was talking about he knew somebody who was very high on Josh Allen. And obviously it's not just the scout. There was the Papa report where Papa was saying that Lance was tradable because of how well Brandon Allen was playing. And there's been other folks. I think it was the guys from 95.7 The Game. Willard and Dibbs went down to one practice, and they said that Brandon Allen looked more comfortable going through the routines than Trey Lance did, even though he went 1 for 8 that day or 2 for 10 or whatever it was.
Yeah, the day after Greg Papa hyped up Brandon Allen, went 1 for 9.
Yeah, he laid an egg.
Like that. Yeah, I'm not worried about Brandon Allen. I think it's just people are really people in the media are desperate to find new things to talk about, and they want to find whatever angle that they can talk about. And because basically there's nothing to talk about, so they're basically drawing up plays in the sand. That's my cousin in the chat, Andy 911. Good to see you, man. Had a lot of fun with him at Games of Candlestick back in the day, man. Me and my brother. So great to see him on here.
Bebop Jones coming to us from the Philly area. Thanks for joining, Bebop. Laura Cat saying, so Bash, you think his trade is interesting, huh?
She's talking about the Chris Paul trade.
Chris Paul.
It
Yeah.
is. It's like it's not a trade that I'm jumping up and down and celebrating, but it does make basketball sense. It does make sense for the Warriors at the same time. And it sounds like Draymond staying, he probably would have left had we held on to. Let's be real, Jordan Poole. Bob Myers laid an egg with that contract with Jordan Poole, and it sounds like Bob Myers was kind of forced out, even though we had a lot of success with them in the past. But it is what it is, That's how it is with the Warriors these days. So who knows what they do.
Steve had an interesting point. He said, "Who said Green is staying?" Yeah, he opted out of his contract, of his player option, and we haven't agreed to terms with Draymond yet, have we? So that's far from a lock. I mean, I think the prevailing wisdom is that the Warriors want him to stay, and I think he wants to stay if we can get him a number that makes sense. But until the deal's done, you never know.
Yeah, I mean the hints that Cyrus was throwing out there, he just made it seem like it was almost like there's no way in hell we just get rid of Jordan Poole like this unless we're keeping Draymond. He thinks that Draymond played a part in this, so who knows, man. Wait, the Donald Johnson has a funny question. What did he say?
I said, what is better, Steph Curry or Jamaican curry chicken? It's a toss up to me. I would say that people recently on the timeline would probably say that I'm more like jerk chicken.
I love jerk chicken. Jerk chicken is so bomb. You ever go to a Jamaican restaurant and get yourself some jerk chicken? It's funny because I used to go be a chatter on this one Warriors Warriors live stream channel where the guy talks about the Warriors live while they're playing, and the guy who runs the channel is Jamaican, and there's this famous Jamaican dish called curry goat. So it's a goat curry. Basically, they call it curry goat. So anytime Steph Curry would make a three, he'd be like curry goat, like he's the goat, But
he is the goat, no doubt about it. No, I love it. Ty Alston here to give me some grief about this morning. I told you what happened, right, Bash?
You did.
Jumped into the wrong show. I sent Ty the invite. See, because what happens is I send the invites out for the shows right when I make them. So if people want to stream to their locations, they can get it all set up in advance. They're not rushing to do it right before showtime. And then what I do is I send them the link again when I'm in the show. It's like, hey, I'm backstage. If you want to come in, if you want to wrap before the show or whatever, it can be helpful. And so I sent it, but I went to the wrong show, sent them the wrong link, and I didn't realize until I went to go retweet the show that that it was I saw Bash in there, and I was like, oh man, I totally blew it. So I had to remake the show. Luckily, I hadn't really promoted it out to all of the different channels I promote to. And thanks for reminding me, Ty. I appreciate it. It was a great show today with Ty, though. He's a great guest.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for joining. I'm still clipping up a lot of stuff out of it.
Yeah, we got some people that trickled in a little late. Kenny's here. Platform 246 is here. Lawrence, what's up, Lawrence? John V. Ty Austin's here, of course. And yeah, man, I'm ready to talk about some Niners whenever you are, man. We talked a little Warriors of the breaking news, but hey, we can go ahead and jump right into it.
Sure. Well, Donald made me an excuse. He said, I'm blaming the Rams. They hacked Ted's computer to mess with his audio. Why is my audio bad right now? Is that what, or did you mean earlier today?
You're good. You were just muted earlier. That's all.
Oh, right. And then obviously Lawrence Jackson Jr., like you mentioned, welcome. Should I try? The chat's on fire here. Holy smokes. Kenny says number one defense. I think that's Niners he's talking about. Definitely last year, and seems like we could be the number one defense again this year. It's a little tougher with the new D coordinator and some changes, but I think of the changes, I think Hargrave more than makes up for maybe Isaiah Oliver for Jimmy Ward, or like McCrary Ball, or maybe Oren Burks instead of Aziz Al-Shire. I think both those could be slight step downs. It's kind of interesting that when you talk about defensive starters, people would say, you could say that we have 3 or 4 new starters this year. Obviously defensive end will have a new starter. Nickel corner will have a new starter. Strong side linebacker will have a new starter. But nickel and strong side linebacker are basically the same position, just base downs versus nickel and dime. You could call it 3 players or you could call it 4, with obviously Hargrave replacing a defensive tackle. But what do you think? You think we'll be the number one defense this year, Bash?
At least top 5. At the worst case scenario, top 5, which should be more than enough. But hey, if we are the number one defense again, I'll welcome it. I do love we never really had a secondary guru, to be honest with you, with any of these, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan teams. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what Wilkes really can bring, to the table. He's gonna be sitting up in the booth to watch the secondary. He's gonna have all the angles, and he brought in. They mentioned Isaiah Oliver. Hey, I'll take that. Even though we lost Jimmy Ward, and even Samuel Womack in the mix too, if they mix up with both of those guys at nickel. So and we drafted Darrell Luter Jr. in the secondary as well. So, and of course, the Ji'Ayir Brown selection. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited to see. We got more guys. We have more options to blitz with too. I call them swarmers. You can swarm with freaking Hufanga, Fred Warner, Greenlaw. You got Ji'Ayir Brown, and you can just blitz with whoever now. And Wilkes likes to blitz more so than other D coordinators we've had in the past. He's more aggressive, so it should be a lot of fun. Maybe we do become number one defense. I'm more worried about becoming the number one team, though. Getting one more of these. I got 5 right here. Nice. We have 6. I'll be more than happy to replace this shirt.
There you go. It's the price we have to pay. Bash is willing to do it. Interesting. Laura Cat was saying she's never had Jamaican food. It's very spicy, so if you don't like spicy,
yeah,
they have
she's never had Indian food either. Too.
She's never had Indian food either.
No.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, maybe she doesn't like spicy because Indian food's pretty spicy. Can be pretty spicy too if you do it right.
I like it spicy.
A lot of people saying number 1D. Excited to see our secondary take shape. Excited for Kalia Davis.
Me too. I like Kalia Davis. Yeah. When we were working Kalia Davis in practice last year, I believe it was like the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season. They had a window for him to practice when he got healthy, and they had an option to make a roster move for him to put him on the roster rather than keep him on the practice squad. And I was hoping and praying that we would activate him, but we never did. But hey, we're gonna see him this year. Now, whether we see a lot of him is another question mark. We don't know, but he's a DJ Jones, former linebacker type prototype that morphed into a D tackle. So a 300-pound athletic guy is what I see in him, and I'm excited about it.
No doubt about it. We got Aiden Chris in the house. He says he's a Buffalo Bills fan. He said y'all going to be a good team. So will the Bills. Aiden, I don't know if you watch weather out there. It's pretty important in Buffalo, but I have a groomsman for my wedding and a lifelong friend of mine named Pat Hammer, who's a weatherman out there, a huge Buffalo Bills fan. He just celebrated 8-year anniversary of being out in Buffalo. So make sure you check him out. I forget the name of his channel. I tried to just check briefly, but I couldn't. So if you look up Pat Hammer, you may already know him. He's pretty outgoing guy, pretty funny. Funny looking, if not funny. So let's see here. We got Bryant says he's sorry he's late. I don't know. I thought I saw Bryant already. Maybe he means popping over to my channel. And that's another thing, too. If you're watching on Bash's channel, make sure you pop over to TED Talks Ball. Give me a like and subscribe. Same thing with people on my channel. Do the same for Bash. Got Panama Queen in the house. Same Bash and Ted. Lawrence Jackson Jr. saying shout out to the Bills. I'm not. I like to show all the chats, but I want to also here we go. Giants got beat down. I guess they lost. They were on a 10-0 win streak, so it's probably about time that they lost. Brent saying yo Carcast. They're just saying hi. Who's taking Aziz's spot?
Very good question. I love Aziz, man. I wish we still had him, but it's a business, when players get really good and they demand bigger money. We only have so much money to pay certain players, so
Yeah, I think Marcelino McCrary-Ball would be a front runner. Oren Burks would be a front runner. Demetrius Flanagan-Falls, I think he's really more just a special teams guy. And the 2 rookies, D. Winters, who people were really high on after the draft, sounds like he's taking a little bit longer than we might have hoped. I think he'll be fine. He's just going to need more time. Jalen Graham sounds like he hit the ground running pretty fast. Maybe he could compete with those other 2, but I would say McCrary-Ball and Burks are the 2 front runners. Maybe even just Burks himself, since he's more experienced, and also since he. I don't know. I wonder, does special teams help or does it count against you? Do you worry about injuring your special teams ace? And then if all things equal, you go with McCrary-Ball because he's less valuable to special teams than Oren Burks.
Yeah, if he's the best linebacker that we have competing for that 3rd spot, Maybe they give the McCray Ball the special teams duties, or give somebody else more of those duties. Who knows? But I was surprised to hear Oren Burks' name mentioned a bit more so in the OTAs and minicamps as being the possible front runner of the position. But we'll wait and see.
No doubt about it. Raphael562 says, how confident are we on tight end 2? Well, obviously the Niners weren't very confident, or we wouldn't have drafted tight end times 2. So obviously we drafted Cam Latu at number 101, or was it 102 overall? And then Braden Willis in the 7th round out of Oklahoma. Both sound pretty intriguing, but I wouldn't be surprised for Cam Latu out of Alabama to be our tight end 2, to take Warner and or Dwelly's spot. I think Dwelly's on the bubble, and I think Warner's not far behind, probably.
Yeah, Cam Latu, I was thinking, whoa, this is a reach when we got him, and then everybody was like, oh wow, look at Braden Willis. What's up, Media? I see you, bro. Just hate and bash. Everybody was like, oh, Braden Willis, this guy looks explosive after the catch and all that. But they're saying that Latu was opening some eyes up in the mini camps and OTAs. So, and when you see him, he looks like a huge classic tight end. No, not Kittle is great at what he does, obviously, but we don't have that tight end necessarily. Or in years past, we haven't had that tight end that a la Kelsey, where they can kind of box people out and use their body to position themselves and get catches, or high point the ball and win those one-on-one matchups where they have to jump for the ball. And the 2 looks more like that type of guy, and he actually showed some speed in mini camps that people weren't expecting.
No doubt about it. Yeah, I'm excited, and I think there was some evidence that he was pretty good after the catch. I mean, not like Kittle with Yak, but no slouch at getting yards after catch as well too. Larcat says, I love spicy food. So yeah, you definitely got to try Jamaican. You definitely got to try Indian. Both curries,
those are the 2 spiciest foods I could think of. Yeah,
they're up there for sure, no doubt about it. Ty Alston says Oren Burks will be the Sam linebacker. He played well last season. Okay,
there you go, Ty.
What's definitive opinion from Ty.
Check out 10% Ty YouTube channel.
Yeah. Faithful 10, the letter O1. Also, East Coast Red and Gold podcast with Jess. He goes on there every Wednesday. 10% Ty. Podcaster, agent extraordinaire. He can turn your podcast into podcash. If you need an upgrade for a better guest on your show, or you want to get onto a better show, talk to Ty. He will get you that podcash and only take 10% on the back end. So, killer deal. So who could say no to that? Who could say no? Donald Johnson says the weakest part of the defense is opposite both, so I'm hoping Drake Jackson will have a huge jump this year.
Yeah, we're all hoping for that, because we didn't sign anybody. We didn't sign a proven veteran, like a big name veteran at that pass rush spot, like a lot of fans wanted us to do, unless we end up doing it later down the road. But time is ticking.
There you go. Stevo Supremo says kick return rule will get rid of a lot of positions on special teams. I don't know that it does. But
that rule is so stupid, by the way. I think it's so dumb that they did that.
It's a shame. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it really matters for us that much, because our problem wasn't like, oh, we're kicking off and like, oh, they would down it and get it at the 25. Like we want a guy with a booming leg to make sure they get it only at the 25. What we had troubles with was kicking it inside the 5, and then they return it to the 35 or 40. So that would still be a problem even with this rule if they felt confident against our return team to gash it. Don says, let's get Bash and Ted's likes up. Hit the like button. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. The Niners had Sam Darnold as a backup last year. Do you think they beat the Eagles?
Good question.
Well, I mean, I've talked about that already with Baker Mayfield, because the Rams kind of blocked us from getting Baker Mayfield. They took him off the waivers when really they had nothing to play for. They were already eliminated from the playoffs, and they did it just so we wouldn't get him. And, I'll speak what I said about Baker. It's probably pretty similar to Darnold, which is I would have felt more comfortable with either Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold than Josh Johnson. But the same problem would have existed for any QB coming in there, which is lack of practice reps. They weren't at, last season's off season, the OTAs, mini camp, training camp, preseason. So I think we would have done better against the Eagles. I think it would have been a better game. But I don't think I would expect that we would have beaten the Eagles with Sam Darnold.
And real talk, even if we had beaten the Eagles with Darnold, I don't care what anybody says. I can't. I don't live in a world where I can picture Sam Darnold beating Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I just don't.
Yeah, I don't see that either. No doubt about it. Aiden Chris says, I can see. Oh, Aiden's here. Bash was nice enough to look up Pat Hammer's station's WGRZ. So if you check out weather at WGRZ, you can
not
find
WKRP in Cincinnati.
Not
WGRZ in Buffalo.
In Buffalo, Niagara. Yeah. He says, I see San Francisco 49ers and Philly Eagles in a battle for number one defense. I mean, it definitely was. They were 1-2 last year. People liked the Eagles draft picks. I'll just say that the Eagles have a lot of draft picks, and they lost a lot of proven players, not just Hargrave, not just CJ Gardner-Johnson, but I think every starting linebacker. Basically the only studs they kept were Hassan Reddick and their two corners, Bradbury and Slay. And I don't even know if you'd call Bradbury a stud.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. So will they be? Maybe if their stuff pans out, Jalen Carter turns out to be what everybody thinks he is. But people that have character issues and motor concerns, they're a lot more likely to bust or not live up to expectations of being a top 10.
I noticed about what's it called? What's his name? I was thinking the same thing myself before he even said it on your show. But Rob Statsquare was saying on your show, so I'm gonna say similar to what he was saying since it was on your show. Like some Niner fans are kind of panicking, like the Seahawks got this player, or these other teams got that player. They drafted this rookie, they got that rookie. Look, wait till they play on the field. I'm not saying all these guys are going to be busts, but sometimes they may be slow developers. Developers. If any guys get the reference, let me know in the chat. But it's not a guarantee that these guys are going to step up and be all pro players in year one, and we have to be scared of them this year, and they're going to kick our ass this year. It's like, let it play out.
There you go. Steve Supremo asked Silly Fungi what he thought if we could have won with Sam Darnold against the Eagles, and Silly Fungi thought so. I said, I think so, right here. Let's see here. People were talking about the food. Steve Supremo. Oh, here we go. Turbo 9777 saying, how's McKivitz looking at right tackle? I'm going to run with that first. You want me to tackle that tackle question? Oh, sorry, I had to go there.
Go see Ted H at the San Jose Improv live this Friday at 9.
So I mean, ultimately, I think it's tough to tell with offensive linemen until the pads come on. O linemen, when they're blocking, they get a good grip on both sides of the defender's pads, ideally. And so if the defenders aren't wearing those pads, then it's much more difficult to really get a gauge on how good the O linemen are doing. And there's also no tackling too, which
I played O line in high school. I mean, there are some things in the non-hitting drills that do kind of translate, and if somebody's getting just completely worked in a non-hitting drill, he's not going to do much with pads on. But still, though, wearing the pads and hitting each other does tell the true story 100%. My biggest issue with the whole McKivitz thing is it just feels like the 49ers are like crowning this guy, like giving him the reins, and they better be right. I'm not trying to jinx everything, but they better be right, because who do we have for depth? I mean, I wanted to draft DeJuan Jones, for example. We didn't go that route because they were trying to say that, he's not a Shanahan scheme fit. He's too big for Shanahan. He's a big, huge, lumbering power guy. I hope he doesn't turn into an all-pro with the Cleveland Browns. And this guy looks like a total stud to me. But just anybody. Didn't even have to be DeJuan Jones. Just somebody to challenge McKivitz. Somebody for insurance policy if McKivitz goes down and gets injured. I mean, who do we have really there? If McKivitz, they say McKivitz is good. And, who do we really have there to step up and take McKivitz's place?
That's a good point. That's a good point for sure. We don't have anyone. We have Matt Pryor and we have Jalen Moore. I don't trust them, either one, a lick to play right tackle or left tackle. Brandon Ferrigno in the house from 49ers Podcast Network saying, what's up, fam? Hiroski was saying Darnold would have made it a game against the Eagles. So chiming in on his vote there. Kenny said anyone but Josh Johnson. And then Donald Johnson says, Kenny, the Niners could have put a cheerleader in his QB and she'd do better. That's pretty cold. Let's see here. If Bashar was on the 49ers, what position would he play? I mean, I know what he'll say, but I don't want to spoil. I don't want to step on your line.
Oh, I answered in the chat. It said nose tackle.
Okay.
Ted and I have this running joke. Ted one time was talking about people trying to fight him or talking smack to him, getting personal with him. He's like, well, I just want to let you guys know that I'm built like an NFL nose tackle. I'm like, hey, Ted, that makes two of us. But I actually did play guard in high school, and I did play some defensive tackle in high school. I didn't play on the nose exactly, but I just think right now I'm more like an NFL nose tackle, but we don't run the 3-4 anymore. Maybe I could be a guard. Maybe if the NFL was played in the 1960s, maybe I'd be lucky to crack an NFL roster. Not nowadays, not in today's NFL.
There you go. I played QB, but I was 110 pounds lighter, so it looked a little bit
Where'd
different.
you play QB at?
High school on the peninsula. I usually don't disclose because honestly, I didn't play that much. Yeah, that's more of it. So yeah,
Ted is a quarterback. Interesting. Okay, well,
yeah, I had a cannon of an arm.
We can still talk about cannon of an arm,
but basically, it was all about who could hand off to our league leading running back. He got I think it was 1,300, almost 1,400 yards in 8 games. He was injured for 2 games and still set the PAL record.
I haven't watched high school football recently, and I think I've watched
videos. 1987.
I think I watched videos of some teams in recent years of high school football where it looks like they're incorporating a whole lot more passing than I ever witnessed when I played or watched high school football as a spectator. But back then it was just like, you're a quarterback, you're handing off the ball. I mean, you're barely ever.
Well, that was the thing. That was the thing. I had a cannon, but it was who could hand off to Eric. And I was slow as molasses. Also, for basketball, I can't jump very well. I can box out with the best of them.
I used to be able to kind of jump. The most I could do was grab the rim, though, if that counts. At 6 foot. I mean, I wish I could have dunked, but
that's better than me. I couldn't dunk. I couldn't grab the rim or anything. Yeah, and I was 6'1" at that point. Now I've shrunk to 6 foot.
Okay.
Let's see here.
I definitely had you in the weight department too. Interesting that you couldn't grab the rim, but it's okay. I guess I kind of had some hops.
I had no hops. I had no hops at all. Vornado saying Cleveland, very happy with Jones, shaking my head.
Not surprised. He was a top talent coming out of Ohio State. Not surprised. And his career is going to go to shit now that he's on the Browns. Sorry to anybody who's a Browns fan, but I don't see the Browns winning the Super Bowl. So,
which Jones? What am I missing here? Maybe I missed this. Is this new news today or something?
He's talking about DeJuan Jones, the
DeJuan Jones. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Not NBA. Not NBA news.
No. That's fine. I just I forgot that part, and I didn't realize he went to the Browns either. Laura Cat, I can picture Ted and Bash playing football for sure. Like I said, I did more riding of the bench than playing, but I definitely practiced and lifted weights and all that good stuff, but I was not a very good player.
You're a late bloomer, Ted.
When I was younger in Pop Warner, I played tight end, all on the peninsula. JG638 said,
"What's OG from Twitter?" By the way, I didn't want to. He revealed his identity.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, well, I knew OG is really JG. His account was JG before, and something happened, and then he came back as OG said.
He has a special talent. He can see
him deep.
Oh, sorry.
Which QB do you think can make him happy? Which one do you think, Bash?
Trey Lance, maybe, or I don't know. Well, Darnold is a strong arm too, but I know. I think. I mean, we've barely seen Trey Lance out there, and it's funny because I'll go through these new shows, but like, let's not talk about the quarterbacks. Let's not talk about the quarterbacks. But what do you know? It comes up. But the little that we've seen Lance, I mean, the preseason or regular season, whatever, it's like flick of the wrist, boom. It's like easy for him. He makes that one difficult throw look easy. Now the complaint was, can he hit his layups with consistency? Can he make the intermediate throws with consistency? Can he read the linebacker properly? Does he have touch on his passes? Blah, blah, blah. We know the concerns that were out there. Some people exaggerated them a whole lot more than others. But it's going to be interesting to see if Ayuk or even Danny Gray's a factor, a deep ball threat, a pure deep ball threat, more so than Ayuk even. And OG has a special talent, ladies and gentlemen. He can sing just like Bruno Mars. So,
Outstanding. I know he goes to a lot of concerts. I see some of his
Yeah,
pictures from shows and whatnot.
I might do karaoke
Uh,
with him one of these days. So we'll see. I can kind of sing.
nice. And he's out by you out in the Sac area, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
we're not too far from each other.
Very cool. Very cool. Laura Cat says, I was a cheerleader all 4 years in high school. So much fun. And
Cheerleaders.
very cool. High school boys fantasies, I'm sure, with stuff like that. Cheered for football and basketball. Wow.
That's a
Very
lot of
cool.
work for both sports. Yeah.
It is, no doubt about it. Which did you like better, football or basketball games? White men can't jump. Yeah, this white man certainly can't. I've
They're
seen
doing
some
a
of
remake
that.
of that movie, by the way.
I heard. Do you know who's starring in it?
I forgot the guy's name. I think he's some wannabe rapper type of dude. I forgot his name.
Right on. Steve-O Supremo said he's 5'10" and could grab the rim. Yep, 2 inches tall. Well, part of the problem I have is I have alligator arms. I have T-Rex arms.
I kind of have long arms, so that helped. It wasn't
Yeah,
necessarily
I have,
you're
I have
jumping
short
over me.
arms, short legs, and a really long torso. I'm kind of built like Fred Flintstone. So, in fact, that's one of my go-to Halloween costumes for sure. Me as Fred, and my wife is Wilma, and then my 3-year-old son.
I'd have to see that picture.
Bam Bam. I'll send you some pics. Sure, no worries.
That's cool. That's cool.
I'm
Fred
always down
Flintstone,
to
huh?
send them. Yeah. It's a good fit for me. Sadly.
What were you mentioning right before the him grabbing the rim? Because there was something. Oh, about the white man can't jump, right? Yeah. No, I was going to tell you who the actor was once I find it.
And then just to circle back to JG, just to say, I agree. Trey Lance, Darnold has a pretty good arm, but I think we've seen Trey Lance connect deep. And some people say, "Oh, well, they're wide open." Well, it's like, well, Jimmy G missed a lot that were wide open. So, and Purdy is certainly not any kind of amazing deep ball thrower. So, I think Ayuk would benefit from Trey Lance. I think Kittle. People have forgotten that Kittle is a deep ball threat. And obviously Danny Gray would be one who would just potentially have huge benefits from being paired up with Trey Lance some more. So Steve says I have my football clippings in the paper from '96. All right, so you're not much younger than me then. Maybe
I'm 2 years older than Steve. If that's the case.
10, 11 years. Yeah. When did you graduate from high school? I was 88.
94. I'm 94.
94. So you're 6 years younger than me. Okay. Or probably 5. I was young for my class. So when I got to college, I was still 17.
Oh, wow. You were super young.
For a little bit of my freshman year, yeah. Laura Cat said, I like football season more, especially homecoming week. Yeah, there's just more fans. It's outside. You got the band. Football is kind of king in America. Basketball is great. I really love basketball, but football, especially NFL, are definitely king. 98, he graduated. Okay, so Steve-O's 10 years younger than me. So you're probably 42, 43 years old, Steve-O.
We're all old. It's okay.
Jack Harlow in the movie White Man Can't Jump.
There you go.
There you go. And Bash had it too. So thanks, Bash. So let's see here. As far as things going on in the news, there was obviously Deebo Samuel. Well, if you want to bring that up,
I thought you wanted to do it. So
I've been going big on it for sure. Adam Schefter, yesterday was on the Pat McAfee show. He led off saying, "Oh, the Niners hope that Brock Purdy will be ready week 1," which is basically a nothing burger. We've been hoping that since he had a surgery. Obviously, he's 1 week ahead of schedule, but we have so little data on these surgeries and NFL QBs. Only one of their QB has had it, Nick Mullins. He's actually at tight end university this week. So I was hoping we get a little update maybe from Kittle or Lance or anybody there about how his arm looked. But also I saw Ty quote tweeted one of our local reporters actually sat down. It looks like they sat down. I didn't have a chance to look at it yet. And talked to Nick Mullins about the process and what he went through. So that could be very helpful for people wanting to know, because I've been saying that it's been 2.5 years with Nick Mullins and we don't even know if he's 100% now We certainly don't know if he was 100% 6 months in, like we're hoping Purdy will be. So some people are saying, oh, they're sure that Purdy will be ready to play. And I'm like, hoping isn't sure. It's pretty far from sure. And then the other thing, the big thing that Schefter said was that Darnold has the edge on Trey Lance right now, according to,
I think at the end of the thing though, didn't he say that these are just my thoughts, or these are just my opinions? At the very end of that tweet he put out, he did state that it was more opinion based than anything else, and it wasn't necessarily like a pure fact that's set in stone that he has this amazing source that nobody knows about or whatever. So,
well, he also backed it up. He also backed off of it and said Lance could still beat Darnold out. So he just left himself an out. Yeah, and that's why I was saying that it's kind of clickbaity of him, that he's looking for clicks, because people know if you say something bad about Lance, that at least half our fan base is going to react, with a quickness and a clickness, and, click, view, engage. And that's what these guys are looking for. And some people were saying, oh no, they're worried about being right and their reputation. I was saying, no, I think they're just worried about making money. And, Schefter was wrong about Mac Jones at number 3 overall when we took Lance, and he was wrong about Lance being traded at the 2023 draft. So he could very easily be wrong about this too. And, like I said, it's the off season. This is the time when people are really searching to get engagement and clicks, because there's not a lot of real hard news. And so it's a time where people, are looking wherever they can. They know the 49ers fan base, anything to do with the QB, it's a controversy for us every year. And so, and especially our fan base is almost pretty evenly split, it looked like, from any polls I've seen, between Purdy and Lance. It's about 50-50. So if you say something bad about one, you're going to get 50% of the fan base coming, at you angry and clicking.
That's true. The click-ins are going to be coming. The clicks are going to come. And I tweeted this back in that little tweet that you put out, and I was basically saying that, because Larry Krueger was saying that Adam Schefter doesn't care about clicks, and he took a shot at you at your little screen name or whatever, and that's a whole nother thing. I didn't really want to get into that, but I had to say that to set up the premise for what I'm talking about, because that's why you tweeted what you tweeted. I got that part. But my thing was that, well, if Adam Schefter doesn't care about clicks, that's pretty bad, since he's typically wrong with player speculations. Maybe they should find someone else to replace him. All he's good for is dropping breaking news on player transactions, and it's true. What does he do on Twitter? Oh, so-and-so just breaking news. The 49ers just signed this guy, or the Eagles just signed this player. Like, we get it. You're the guy that has all the sources, and you drop all the breaking news. We know that. But whenever it's with speculation and, oh, the Niners are going to trade Trey Lance on draft day, or this is going to happen, like, you could just go through a list of how many times Adam Schefter has been wrong, and he's been wrong a lot of times. Now, is he trying to be wrong on purpose, or is he just throwing up wild guesses? He's just wrong because he's throwing out these wild guesses. I don't know. I don't know where it's coming from, but I mean, the point is that, like, take whatever Adam Schefter says with the grain of salt. As far as I gotta say, I don't care how big his name is, and if he's watching right now, whatever, I don't care.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. There's definitely shows, like, where there's partner shows where the two folks, like, let's say Skip and Shannon, they just take opposite sides. Whatever one says, the other guy argues the opposite, whether they believe it or not, and they do that. So what if, Schefter and Rappaport are kind of doing the same thing, even though they're not on the same show, but, like, whatever Rappaport says, Schefter kind of does the opposite. That way, they're always kind of conflicting, and they're and basically having controversy, right? Because if you agree too much, it's boring. Ultimately, if you agree too much, people will change the channel. So it's good to have a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of disagreement, because that's what is interesting. That's what people like, when people get elevated, they get a little bit of emotion, a little bit triggered. And we saw a little bit of that last night.
And really quick, a lot of people, when they turn on the TV and watch a TV show, or even when they listen to the radio, they think that when they turn on a TV show and watch these guys go back and forth, to where they think that that we're watching it raw, and it's just like the guys just arrived to the studio like 10 minutes beforehand, and they're ready to go. Like, no, like a lot of these guys arrived to the studio maybe 2 or 3 hours beforehand, and they game plan. Now, whether it's scripted like the WWE, you never know. It is sports entertainment at the end of the day. There might be some WWE element to it, like you said. But it's like, it's right. You're right, though. I mean, how often did Skip and Sharp ever agree on anything? I mean, very rarely. But when they're going back and forth and yelling at each other, it's great TV at the same time. Maybe we should do that. I don't know. Maybe we'd get more views and clicks.
Well, people, I know Aaron and Raj were always telling me I want to see more of Timeline Teddy, on your shows,
and less of technical Ted. Just kidding.
Less of technical Ted. Yeah, a little more emotion, a little more combative, a little more like receipts and calling people out. And definitely, we got some more of that this morning with Ty talking about Schefter, talking about Larry Krueger, and sort of like, everybody wants clicks, right? I mean, let's be honest, right, Bash? I mean, if you're serious about doing this, you want the clicks. And it really just comes down to what are you willing to do to get them? And are you willing to say something you don't believe to get clicks? Are you willing to, throw somebody under the bus, a fellow creator? Are you willing to, stand up somebody you had an appointment with because somebody bigger came along and asked for the same time? Those types of things. So
you're giving me ideas, Ted. You're teaching me how to be a bad content creator.
Did you get a better offer this afternoon, Bash? And you stuck with me, man?
Yeah,
I should have told you. Always take the better offer, man. Take the better offer.
All right. I was supposed to be on the Pat McAfee show, but decided to go on Ball when Ted Bash and Ted.
Hey, well, that's loyalty, man, and that will be repaid someday for sure, no doubt about it. Yeah, so that was some of the stuff from this morning. I definitely put out some short clips of the show, a 7-minute clip, a 30-second or 60-second clip, and another 3-minute clip, just of some of these types of things. I don't want to get anybody involved in my battles. As far as we were talking about, we were going to talk about, I think, about Debo a little bit. And he came out and basically said that he played poorly last year and that he won't ever put that on film again. So I think that's exciting that he's sort of taking responsibility for that. And, it's one thing to have a bad year. It's another thing to say, look, it'll never happen again. I'm going to work hard and make you basically forget that.
Yeah. I mean, Debo still gave you that high. It wasn't as frequent as that big, huge year that he had. We get that before he got the contract, but he still gave you that huge, big play element from time to time, which was nice last year. But I'm hoping Debo's having this in mind, especially when he's talking about the way Debo was talking about Brandon Ayuk, like in the OTs and minicaps. He was like, well, you can't cover that guy in a phone booth, alluding to how great of a route runner Ayuk has developed to become, which is great. So I'm hoping that Debo has wants to follow his footsteps basically and say, hey, I want to be a complete receiver. I know that wide back stuff works. You can call it gimmicky or whatever, wide back stuff where he's, where they have him out of the backfield as a running back, and it's cool from time to time, but I don't want him to get injured on those type of plays either. And for us to be a better overall team, it'll only help if Debo progresses and transforms into more of a pure receiver. And you can mix that stuff in from time to time. And hey, with Danny Gray and his crazy speed, you can run him on those jet sweeps from time to time too. It doesn't always have to be Debo, but at the end of the day, Debo signed this huge contract, and I think he realizes that he has to live up to it.
I think he does, and it's exciting. I mean, when he's on his game, there's not many players in the league like him. I mean, can you imagine if we had 2021 Debo with 2022 CMC, with 2018 Kittle, with like 2022 Ayuk? It would be an embarrassment of riches and would really help whoever we have at QB.
There's only one football, but I think they're all cool with that. They're all cool with other guys scoring and making big plays and helping us win games. So.
Yeah, there's only one football, but when you got guys like that are such threats, then there's gravity, where basically they take the attention of defenders away from each other, and then every one of them gets more wider lanes to run through to get more yak or just to be more wide open to make it easier to catch a ball or break a big one or whatnot. So it's exciting for sure.
Yes, sir. I think PFF had us ranked. Yeah, I saw it actually the other day. You may have seen it. Yeah, we talked about it with Ryan on Monday at the Bring the Heat. No, on Tuesday at the Bring the Heat show with Mariah. Shout out to Mariah too, and Beto. Ryan brought up that PFF had us ranked as the fourth best receiving core. And when I first heard that, I'm like, "Whoa, fourth best receiving core in the whole NFL." And I was thinking more so they meant the full wide receiving core, or just the wide receivers. But what they actually meant was, you know, George Kittle's a receiving threat. CMC's a receiving threat out of the backfield. Even use check, you can say, and just as a whole, as a team, we have plenty of guys who are receiving threats, and so we're spoiled. We're definitely spoiled with playmakers.
I'd say 4 is selling us pretty short then. If we're talking about, CMC is the best receiving running back. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, the thing with Kittle is that people get confused by Kelsey because Kelsey has Mahomes feeding him in the most pass happy scheme. So he has way more targets from a better QB and from behind a better pass blocking offensive line. I think if you swapped them, Kittle would be every bit as good as Kelsey, if not better, at getting yards and TDs.
Kittle
and
with
whatnot.
Mahomes would be freaking incredible. Then
No doubt about
it
it.
would be imagine all the deep shots he'd get downfield.
Yeah, it'd be wild. So, yeah, I wonder who. I guess it'd be interesting to
I
see
sent you
who
the
they
link. I
had.
sent you the link of the PFF
Okay.
article. Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
chat.
I
And
was
we can
going to
acknowledge some
see
people in the chat in the meantime, because where
who
Roski
they had.
says Debo knows Ayuk is coming for that rock. Oh, he sure does. He sure does. And when you're getting that type of money, you better produce.
There you go.
And
So the Bengals number 1.
I can't
Who's their
argue
tight
against that.
end? But who's their tight end?
Who's their tight end? Well, yeah, I don't have the list up, but I forgot who the tight end was.
Well, they only talk about Irv Smith Jr. I guess he's
Jr.
from the Vikings, right? Come on.
Remember we had Irv Smith
good, right?
Senior? Remember Irv Smith Senior? He was a 49er.
Yeah.
He played
Yeah.
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then they got the Eagles second. And I like that because, I like A.J. Brown is pretty comparable to Debo, except for maybe a little bit more refined as a
More
wide
polished
receiver.
and bigger.
Not as good at the yak. Yeah, not as good at the yak, but Devonta Smith's really good. Dallas Goedert is, just a step below Kittle. He's the second best blocking and receiving tight end, and he does block, which is key. Dolphins at 3. So they say Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle alone puts them in there. But who else do they have? They lost Gesicki, it says. They still have Cedric Wilson, Trent Sherfield. Really? They're listing Trent Sherfield?
I haven't seen him do anything since Lance threw him a few touchdowns.
Yeah, and I would fade the Dolphins just because I just don't think Tua is going to be able to stay healthy. I think he'll, unfortunately for him.
I hate to say that about Tua. I really, really do. He just looks fragile to me. He just does.
Yeah, I would never wish injuries on anyone. I never root for injuries, but you got to pay attention to them. And just the fact that he has all these concussions, and they're not even from helmet to helmet hits. How most people get concussions, they're from helmet hitting the ground because he's getting ragdolled. He's just too little, or just the way he gets tackled, he allows his head to hit the ground. I don't know what it is. If it's because he's not tiny, the guy is pretty good. He's every bit as big as Purdy, as far as my understanding goes. But yeah, I would fade the Dolphins there. So I'd put us like at 3 or 2. I think I'd put us ahead of the with Kittle. Yeah, I think people are thinking of 2022 Debo. If we have 2021 Debo, we're gonna be number 1 on that list.
And just imagine if we get some help from Danny Gray and Latu and Braden Willis and all those other guys. So who knows?
Yeah, and then I've heard some people talking about maybe trading Juwan Jennings. Have you heard anybody mention that?
I didn't hear that. No, but I remember I was talking. Shout out to Beto. He was saying that Beto thinks that Ronnie Bell can beat out Jennings or something like that, and then he could step up, and then we wouldn't have to re-sign Jennings or eventually in the future when Jennings becomes a free agent. Well, also he's here. Speaking of the devil, Niner sickness is in the chat. Yeah, so that's interesting. I mean, Ronnie Bell's showing great hands early on in OTAs and mini camps, but I still need to see more from the guy. I need to see it on the field.
There you go. Beto in the house. Thanks for joining. Bash and Ted better than any WWE tag team.
Do we wear the face paint like the Road Warriors in Demolition, or do we just? What would be our gimmick? What would be our gimmick?
Jay in the Bay wears those luchador masks.
Yeah, Jay in the Bay wears that. I don't know. I couldn't do a mask. I just couldn't do it. I'd sweat too damn much for a mask.
And my former designer and producer Benji used to wear one of the first videos we did. He came on with the mask on. I was like, "Whoa, hey,
okay.
How you doing?
How you doing?
What's up to Lawrence and
everybody saying what's up? Hey, we're all one
what's up? Hiroski said Debo knows Ayuk is coming for that rock. Absolutely, Ayuk is a man possessed. It seems like so. We'll see.
Says go ahead. Sorry.
I see Jennings as expendable easily, especially if Bell is faster. I think Bell's a little faster.
He is faster.
A little smaller. Both of them seem to have the dropsies, though. So, I don't know.
I thought they were saying Bell was really making all these great catches in camp, though. I thought they were saying that.
In OTAs, but then minicamp, I think he got the dropsies. At least that's what Sterling...
some easy ones from Lance, I think, at times, right? Wasn't he the one?
That's what Sterling Bennett was telling me when he came on the show. He said basically anyone not named Ayuk was basically Butterfingers for our wide receivers. So, Beto says he has 3 49ers wrestling masks. There you go.
Oh, but yeah, I've seen you wear those masks before. I was going to say, Mariah mentioned it. We were talking back to the whole quarterback thing. It was more so about the fan base. Like Mariah is just saying, and I agree with her. Like I was like, Mariah, you just knocked it out of the park when you said that. Like freaking, you spoke for so many of the 49er fans. She's just like, I'm tired about all this back and forth about the quarterback and who the quarterback's going to be. And she was dropping her F-bomb saying it. And she's like, Niner fans fight more with Niner fans more so than they fight with other fan bases. And I was going to say, I don't see the fighting going on in my chat or maybe even your chat as well, which is good. It's good. All Niner fans are getting along. But in the whole Twitter world and other universes, it seems like Niner fans are just butting heads and beating each other up, slapping each other around. And we should be doing this to other fans of other fan bases. And Mariah said at the end of the day, if there's anybody we should be mad about, we should be mad at Kyle and John for putting us in this position. And she made so much sense by saying that. Shout out to Mariah. You're awesome. 49 Faithful League podcast. Check her out with TL.
She's a brawler. Love that. Beto says maybe I should start coming on my shows with a mask. LOL.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Vornus was saying, the Vornado was saying, does Bell have that Jennings dog mentality?
Remains to be seen.
I don't know. He's a little smaller for sure. He's not quite as heavy, not quite as tall. But I think he's got a lot of that toughness. He said, I thought Bell had hands. That was some of the early reports, but then some of the people that were there later, like I said, later into OTAs and into minicamp. I guess it was just really only 4 practices. So 2 OTAs, 2 minicamp. But anyway, yeah. He says, okay. Next shift, off topic, but NBA draft tonight. He's excited. There we go. Well, thanks, Next Shift, for coming. I think he's part of the Hardcore Sports Network or Let's Talk Sports groups that I'm a part of. So I appreciate you being here. Tell us your team, Next Shift, and who you want them to draft if you had your draft crush.
Must be a Canadian with that maple leaf on his logo, maple leaf logo with a football on it.
Yeah,
maybe he's a Raptors like Toronto. Fan. I don't know.
Maybe Raptors. That's probably a good guess. No more Canadian NFL teams, but there's obviously CFL up there too.
He pop up.
Donald agreeing with Vornus. Hiroski saying if Bash was a WWE wrestler, who would he be?
That's it. I'd have to be my own character. I don't think I could be somebody. But I'll tell you who I grew up watching. And I really liked. Roddy Piper was my favorite wrestler.
Old school.
And every kid in my school, but me, was all about Hulk Hogan. I was like, screw Hulk Hogan, man. And they're like, oh, you like all the bad guys? Yeah, the bad guys are more fun to watch, And it was just awesome. 80s wrestling. I'm supposed to go back and do my wrestling show again. Hopefully, I can get that back going again because I love talking old school wrestling. It's a lot of fun. But
Yeah, that's all.
I'd find a way to make up my own little crazy character, kind of like Mankind, or where he was like Mankind played 3 different guys at one point. So maybe I'd do something like that.
Yeah, that's all I know is old school. What was the Hulk's name when he was on Rocky? Remember he came and he did like
Thunder
a
Lips.
Thunderlips.
In the
Thank
Rocky
you.
movie, Rocky 2 was it, or Rocky 3,
Or
or
3? I think it was Rocky
yeah,
3 with Clubber Lang, I think. Yeah, that sounds
Clubber Lang,
about right.
Mr. T was in it. Yep.
Yeah. Pity the fool.
And Hulk Hogan picked up Sylvester Stallone and threw him into like the 3rd row or something like that. That was pretty funny.
What's your prediction? Pain. Nurse Beto says trade Jennings in a 4th the Commanders for Chase Young. I've heard that talk around. I just say with Chase Young, we already have 2 D linemen with bad knees with Kinlaw and Kalia Davis. I mean, we have no reason to believe that Kalia Davis won't be fine with his ACL, but I mean, it comes down to how many dinged up knees do you want on your D line? But yeah, Chase Young.
That's like the Trent Baalke, remember?
He was the number 1 overall pick, right? So I mean, obviously
he's got talent, man. He's got talent. He looks the part. He looks scary and huge and big and fast, and imagine him with Fitzeric. But then again, that injury is a question mark.
John V says Rowdy Piper.
Yeah, I actually got to hang out with Rowdy Piper once, and I took pictures with him. He's a really, really cool guy. Rest in peace.
Nice. Bash would be Nikolai Volkov.
Oh my gosh. Nikolai. He passed away too, actually.
Little Rusky connection. Chris Paul to the Warriors. Yeah,
that's true.
He's trolling us. He's trolling us back.
Oh, is he trolling us?
Well, yeah, he's a Lakers fan. And in our 49ers podcast network chat, a few people, I think it was Pete Lucas, was trolling us about that.
No, I didn't bother reading. I was too busy preparing for the show and watching a few other stuff.
Yeah, and Anshul from 49er Media asked me what my thoughts were, and I just said I don't really like him. Always injured in the playoffs, and I just hope it's part of a bigger move that's coming. That's
there could be some design move in the future.
Yeah,
maybe by midseason where they dump his salary. Who knows what they do? I don't know when they would be able to do that, but they could create a ton of cap space for him later in the future. That's for sure.
Hiroski says you're a nice guy. He says
no. He can't see me as a heel.
Right.
He can't see me. No. I think I can play the bad guy. I think I've studied drama. I do a lot of voices. I am a nice guy, but I just think I'd have a whole lot more fun being the bad guy.
You could fake it.
Yeah, I think I could.
I
piss off plenty of people, and I don't even try. That doesn't matter how nice I am. I don't piss off as many people as you do, but I have a lot of people who hate me. So go figure.
I don't think anybody pisses off as many people as I do.
Just imagine if I tried how much heat I'd get with all the hate. Oh man, that'd be sick.
That was one of the things I said in one of those videos about how Larry went real personal on me last night on the show, and I just said, I get it. I get under people's skin, even people that are that I'm close with. The way I argue can really tick people off, and so I get it. But ultimately, I'm either someone's going to apologize or expect to hear more from me is what I was saying on one of the videos. So we'll see.
Hey, maybe you gain subscribers.
I'm not going anywhere.
Maybe you can.
Yeah. I'll pull a McGlinchey and just say, I'm still here. I'm still here. Brad Culp says, Beto, the fists. John B said,
I knew a girl with
oh, boy.
Oh, John. Don't kiss and tell.
Oh, boy.
DSL.
Oh, man. All right. We won't go into that. Beto saying hi to Bryant. Laura Cat saying, Kenny, yikes. Nikolai played a Russian, so that totally works.
And I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that comment.
Why am I not seeing all the comments? We're on 2 channels. Yeah. And I'm showing most of them now that it's slowed down. When it speeds up, sometimes you just can't show them all. But yeah, I'm showing them so that people on Bash's channel can see mine and people on my channel can see Bash's.
And I want to say something we get a lot of silent viewers too. So, I mean, if you're watching on your cell phone or your laptop and hey, man, just say what's up. Say, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm from where you're watching at. And it's always great to meet new people on here, and people can always follow us on our Twitters or, our social media and engage. Why not?
There you go. Kenny says, question: who was better, Road Warriors or Demolition?
Well, the Road Warriors were the originators, and Demolition was kind of a knockoff, and it was WWE's answer to the Road Warriors. But I was a fan of the Demolition, and it was funny because at one point WWE, where this is really deep, heavy '80s '90s wrestling talk, at one point WWE, or was WWF back then actually, shouldn't even say WWE. They had a complete knockoff of the Road Warriors at one point, where it was the Warlord and the Barbarian, and you had that was another knockoff. So WWF actually had two knockoffs of the Road Warriors, and then eventually they brought in the Road Warriors Legion of Doom anyway. So go figure.
Go figure. So, Road Warriors get your vote.
Were you a big wrestling guy back in the day, Kenny? Not Kenny, I mean, Ted.
Like I said, back when it was Hulk Hogan, Rowdy Roddy Piper, and I mean, even then I wasn't a big wrestling guy, but I paid attention. I knew the names, Captain Lou, and yeah.
Oh, I love Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was the. I don't know if you remember this, but maybe you don't. There used to be a back to my Super Mario Brothers talk. There was a Super Mario Brothers afternoon cartoon that they used to have, and they had these live action segments. And when they were the live action segments, the guy who played Mario and the host of the show was Captain Lou Albano. It was hilarious.
There you go. We could get you a Captain Lou wig. Was his hair
I didn't.
Well, I'm thinking you could almost pull off Andre the Not So Giant.
Andre the Giant. I used to kind of be able to talk like him, but I can't do it anymore. He's got a hard
You're
voice.
definitely better looking than Andre the Giant, but you're a big guy, so I mean, definitely
not as big. I've seen Andre the Giant, bigger person, biggest human being I've ever seen in my life. It looked like a cow. It looked like a 7-foot cow was standing on two legs. It was just crazy. The guy's enormous.
That is crazy. Beto says, love it, Ted. I was definitely trolling. The dude is always missing the playoffs due to injury. Yeah, I knew you were trolling.
Playoffs?
I know when it's basketball, you're coming from the Lakers slant. But congratulations to your Lakers. You guys eliminated us this year, so congratulations. Okay, now I'm on Bash's channel. Oh, fine, thanks. See how it goes. No, that's fine. People pop back and forth. Do what you want to do. That's fine. But I try to show all the chats so you don't have to feel like you're going to miss out if you're on one channel or the other. Road Warriors, no question for Beto. The British Bulldogs was his favorite tag team.
They both passed away. They're both no longer here.
Do you remember their names? I don't.
Davey Boy Smith
them.
and the Dynamite Kid.
There you go.
Wrestling stories are very tragic. If you ever have the Vice channel, or you can go on YouTube and look these up on YouTube. Dark Side of the Ring documentaries by the Vice channel. Amazing wrestling documentaries.
A lot of roids and drugs, I would imagine. Right?
Oh, there's all kinds of crazy stuff. It's good. It's like you're glued to your TV when you watch this stuff.
Nice. David Young says, what a rush.
What up, David Yang? Good to see you. Long time no see.
Big Boss Man.
And he also said the Bushwhackers. They were one of my favorite tag teams. They were hilarious. Funny that we started talking about wrestling. I don't know how the
fan of Brutus, Beefcake, and Greg Valentine.
Greg the Hammer Valentine.
There you go. Varna says the NBA organization within are doing everything in their power to give this guy a effing championship, and he can't stay healthy. Shaking my effing head. Yeah, Chris Paul, right? I mean, Rockets, Suns, now Warriors. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things. Like when the Lakers beat us out of the play-in that year, and the Suns went all the way to the finals. I was rooting for the Suns because they knocked the Lakers out of the playoffs. I was rooting for them, and but I was torn. I was like, I want the Suns to win, but can they win and Chris Paul not get a ring? Because I don't want Chris Paul to get a ring. And now I have to root for that if he's on my team. I'll be torn. I'll tell you right now. Just being honest.
I mean, Paul played on some extremely talented teams. I thought maybe he might have came close at one point in time, but it just never happened.
Yeah, no doubt.
The Goonies. That's she mentioned the Captain Lou Albano was in the Goonies. That's kind of funny.
Oh, yeah. It was a great show. Set in Astoria, Oregon, if I'm not mistaken.
I never, you know what? I never saw that movie all the way through. I've only seen like in bits. That's probably a movie I should cap. I'm really bad with movies, honestly. Like I only watch maybe like 3 or 4 movies
Never
tops
seen
per
the
year.
Goonies? Oh
I never
man,
saw
it's
it from
got
beginning
John
to end.
Matuzak in it. You know, the
I
former
know it's got all
Raider.
kinds of people in it.
Oh man, yeah, that is yeah. You got to sit back down and force yourself through that.
John Matuzak,
It's
former Oakland Raider.
yeah, yeah. Um, good luck spelling his name. Hiroski says, "Does anybody remember the Von Erichs?" I don't think
I
I
do.
do.
They were some tag team. They were a group of brothers that were all wrestlers, based in World Class Championship Wrestling, and then Kerry Von Erich, who was the biggest star that they had, went to WWF and he became the Texas Tornado. But their story is a very tragic story. So many of those brothers died, and it's just it's crazy.
There you go. I just realized that we're coming up on time here.
I was gonna say, when are we
Well
gonna
past
show?
time. Real quick, just want to say, Bryant Culp was saying I thought Chris Paul won with LeBron James. No, it was LeBron James, Bosch, and D Wade.
D Wade, no, Chris Paul was not there. Definitely,
Chris Paul was not.
and
all
they
right,
had Ray Allen too.
Oh yeah, Ray Allen, one of the best 3-pointer shooters ever till Steph Curry came around.
Yep.
Well, let's say goodbye to everybody and thank you for the awesome audience interaction. We'll see you next Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on Ballin with Ted and Bash. That's Bashar of
with Bash and
Ted of Ted Talks Ball, and I'll just say peace and
see ya.
Go Niners.
Bye, everybody. Yo.